And we are back on Take Action News. This is RJ Eskow, Richard Eskow, and you know, as I often say after I listen to that intro, I love to hear our presidents of the United States talk about action to improve the economy, talk about action to eliminate poverty, talk about action to create a more just society. You know, the only thing I love better is the action. So as we talked about with Maya Rockymore and Alex Lawson in the last segment, we're going to be looking for, we're going to be pushing for, we're going to be asking for, we're going to be demanding action from the President of the United States as a community. And we're going to try to help you focus your arguments in that regard here on Take Action News. And by the way, don't forget, we're changing the name of Take Action News, and we want you to tweet at me, RJESKOW, on at RJEskow. Let us know what you think the name ought to be, but we want to be part of that discussion for you. We want to be a kind of lens that helps you focus on that to the extent that we can, and we want your input as well. But we want to let our president know, we want to let our representatives know, we want to let our senators know that we want to strengthen the social contract. We want the society we were promised when in the founding of this country, in the creation of this country, and going back even further. You know, when we talk about Social Security, and the fact that we have a Democratic president of the United States who proposed the chained CPI cut to Social Security in his last budget and may propose it in the next one, we're really talking about the social contract. What's the social contract? The social contract is a concept that goes back at least 300 years and probably to the time of, Plato, I would say. The social contract basically is something that says a society has an agreement among its individual members and the society as a whole. There are certain things that if you are a reasonable, fair, participating member of society, that you are entitled to in return. Now, many things exemplify this social contract, which, as we say, was in one way articulated by Plato, was certainly articulated more clearly by John Locke in his two treatises on government, which was published more than 300 years ago. I think it's 329, but don't lower my overall score if it wasn't precisely 329. But whether it's Locke, whether it's the philosophers and political scientists that have followed him, the social contract is a covenant between a society and its members that says, if you are good to us, we will be fair with you. Why does social security? There are many, as we were saying, there are many programs that exemplify the social contract. Programs to fight poverty. Education is a critical part of the social contract. We want to train you, teach you, guide you, support you as a child, not just to be a worker, a cog in the corporate unit, but to be a participating member of society. So I guess I would say I want to focus our social contract discussion in the next hour on two dimensions. One is education, and the other is reflecting on the Social Security conversation of the last hour. We'll be talking with Jeff Bryant about education in a minute, but here's something that disturbs me. Both Barack Obama's and Mitt Romney's written platforms in the 2012 campaign talked about educating people to get good jobs. Here's the concern. That's not what the social contract is for. Yes, we want people to get good jobs. We want good jobs to be created. We want good jobs to be available. But we don't want that phrase to turn into education as a tool of training for corporate cog positions that may or may not even exist a year or two or 5 or 10 from now. We want to talk about, John Dewey, the educational philosopher, talked about making education a tool by which children could become full citizens in their country, fully participating decision makers in their country's future, and fully realized human beings. We need to get back to that humanistic definition of education as fulfilling a human being's potential and allowing that human being to guide their own destiny as part of the body politic. In terms of Social Security, what can be a clearer illustration of the contract between an individual and his government than the fact that we pay into Social Security all our lives, we're promised the benefits, we kept our part of the bargain. It wasn't, those of us who contribute to Social Security, we're not the ones who increase wealth inequality. You know, the increase in wealth inequality is a big part of any future minor shortcoming that the Social Security trust fund might have. That's because the trust of Social Security's contributions were designed to capture 90% of our national income. But because the ultra wealthy are capturing so much more of it than they used to, it's only capturing about 83%. So that's not our fault. We kept our part of the bargain. We, the Social Security recipients, current and future, are now asking you, the society, the economy, our government leaders, the wealthiest among us, to keep yours. That's what it means to have a social contract. And no, we shouldn't be means tested for our Social Security benefits. If we really believe that the ultra wealthy shouldn't profiteer off Social Security, we should raise taxes. We shouldn't cut benefits, because any decision to link benefits in what is an insurance program, to link benefits to personal wealth, undermines the insurance nature of that program. If I'm in an automobile accident, you hit me, you're drunk, and you hit me with your car, your insurance company owes me the repair of my car and the coverage of my medical bills and whatever else is decided without a means test. It doesn't matter how much I have in my bank account. That's insurance. That's how insurance works. Now, if you feel that the rich are getting too much of a free ride off Social Security, that's more reason for you to join us in subsidizing taxes, encouraging taxes on the wealthy that will get us back to a more just society. Rich people in this country, corporations in this country, are paying historically low taxation wages. Part of restoring the social contract is asking them to pay more in taxation. So we're going to ask you to support that as well in the months and years and weeks to come. In the show to come, we have Jeff Bryant talking to us about excesses in charter schools. We have Cliff Schechter talking to us about another violation of the social contract, which is excessive gun violence, which, again, it seems to be, if it's today, where did the shooting take place? And lastly, we're going to have a different angle with our final story from Bryant Merchant, who's senior editor at Vice. So stick with us. We have a great show coming up. I'm RJ Eskow, and you are listening to Take Action News on We Act Radio.